Tawney,
Honey,
Lucy Love,
Allana,
and we're here with Peep Show Toys, and today we're going to talk about consent. It's been described as really complicated. I think that personally,
it's incredibly simple.
Right, I was like, I think it's very, very simple. So we're each going to take turns kind of talking about what consent means to us and what are some important things to kind of know about it. So for me, consent is ever changing. Just because you're okay with something maybe at the beginning of your relationship or friendship does not mean that won't change at some point. And it's important to know that, like, it's really good to kind of check in when it comes to consent, because it really can change with any sort of, like, situation that might arise, or maybe you just decide you don't like something, and that should be something that you're always touching base on. What about you?
Oh, goodness. For me, it's key. I like to have conversations before there are any sexual interactions at all.
Yeah.
For me, it's super important to talk about, like, your history, what kind of birth control you use, and then from there you can be like, well, I'm this type of person in my sex life, and these are the things I like and do, and like these are things that we could possibly explore, and these are things that we cannot explore.
These are boundaries.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah.
And then just kind of going from there.
Yeah. I think it's good to not just, like, jump on somebody with, like, intense PDA without, like, knowing they like it.
Cool just to be like, all of a sudden, like,
oh, hey.
Is this okay? I think it's good to be like, hey, we're
that
hanging
right
out
there because they have
ongoing consent.
Right.
It's all about communication, and every situation is so different. Like, your consent boundaries will vary person to person.
But, like, even before I think touching is even okay, I think you should have a full-on discussion. You're like, I would like to engage in sexual contact with you. That's my intent. I want to let you know what my intent is with this.
And for some of you guys that, like, also may not know this, you know, when we are online with each other, or when we're, like, sexual with each other, before that even happened, we had a discussion of what our hard no's are, what our yeses are. Is it okay if I were to spank you? Is it okay if I hug you? I mean, these were all things that we had discussions about,
and we still
before we even got on.
We still ask consent for certain things.
All the time. Okay? For all sorts of things.
Can I kiss
We check
you?
in each day to see where we're all at with that day, what we're feeling, and we literally just have, like, a consent session before we even get online each time.
Because I think a lot of people think, this is, like, a common misconception, that asking permission, like, can I kiss you, defeats some of that, like, sexy, some of that thing.
It makes it very attractive.
So hot.
Especially, like, you can make it a part of dirty talk and stuff, too.
Yes.
Like, you can always make it more sexual, the asking and communication, if you need it to be or want it to be for whatever
Consent
reason.
is sexy.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. Consent is sexy.
And so, Lucy, do you have anything, like, personally with you?
Like, just communication. Always, I mean, even, like, not in a sexual partnership, like, consent is every relationship. There's always consent conversations to be had for all areas of your life, and especially sexually. Like, you should always have those conversations up front, and you should know what you like, and you should explore the things that you don't like and you do like, so you can have these conversations, because I feel like, especially when you're young, it's harder to admit the things that you do
or
like,
even know.
Or even know, that's what I mean, or that you don't like, and be comfortable enough to assert those boundaries.
Yes.
So I think a certain level of confidence also comes from, like, having strict boundaries, like knowing exactly what you like and what you don't, and you kind of have to dig for that a little bit.
Oh yeah,
so
you do.
we should all be on those journeys to dig for what we like and don't like.
I love that.
I was gonna say something kind of similar to that, for me, consent is in no way limited to sexuality or, like, intimate touch or anything like that. Like, for example, in my partnership and in many of my friendships, and most of my friendships, we have ongoing consent in terms of talking about trauma and, like, hard things and stresses that we're going through. But we still check in with each other too, again. But, like, even, like, especially in my partnership, like, my partner and I will ask each other for consent before we talk about something that's heavy. Before we have a serious conversation, before, like, you know, anything, check in with each other, you know, because it's, like, we're sensitive people, as many as are, like, you can't always, like, consent is about everything, literally everything, any kind of engagement you could ever have with someone. They deserve the opportunity to consent or say no, thank you.
Yep.
Yes. It's so
You'll
sexy.
See,
yeah.
Even in my friendships, be like, oh my gosh, can you be are we friends? Like, is that good that we're doing this?
Like, what level? Like, where do you feel?
Are we friends now?
Yes.
Also, it's totally okay to say yes to something one time and then very, like, recently after that, change your mind and
you
say no.
You can change your mind literally anytime.
Consent boundaries can change all the time.
Taken away. Consent can always be removed, like,
and just because you gave consent once does not mean you have to give it again.
The fun part about consent is that it's your consent. Yeah. Like, you do that.
If you give consent, or if someone gives consent for something, that doesn't mean that you inherently have ongoing consent to continue doing something. You have to check in every time unless you explicitly understand and express that it's ongoing. And I also wanted to give examples for anyone who doesn't know what we mean by ongoing consent. Like, examples like when you're in a partnership and you are, like, you know, consent to have ongoing sexual interaction and stuff, which still, again, is something that needs to be checked in with. Because, like you said, there's always going to be times, like, you can be in certain times in your life where you and your partner will be super sexual and, like, do PDA and, like, flirt with each other and touch each other casually and stuff, like, throughout, you know, smack each other's bottoms and stuff. And then there'll be other times where you don't want to, or where one of you doesn't want to for whatever reason. And so that you have to, like, communicate and understand each other's boundaries and, like, check in. But that ongoing consent, like, when we're able to engage with each other on cam, or when in partnerships, or in whatever friendships.
Like, I'm always down for a booty spank.
Yeah. It's also always totally fine to not be.
Yep.
Of course.
Because sometimes things happen in your life and you're just not feeling it. But, like, in our case, like, we still have to get online. We still have to do that. And so we're like, I'm not feeling this today at all. And we're all like, got it. Like, cool. Perfect.
We can trust each other to always respect each other's boundaries.
Yes.
Which is so
There's nothing better than being able to trust your partner and knowing that it's, like, the same, you know, and in your friendships as well. So definitely engage in consent.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with all of us. Yes. You'll be hearing a lot more. Don't forget to subscribe. Just ask us. Just ask things. Yeah.
Ask your partner. Ask your friends.
Yeah.
Ask your family. Ask everyone. Ask us.
Speak. Yeah, exactly. Speak. So thank you all.
Bye, guys.